All right,
All
Jen.
right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good
And
evening.
thank you for joining our how to. I tell you, it is just an honor to be here with these two fabulous women who we love dearly, who's always there for us, and we appreciate them so much. But my name is Joyce Cox, and I am the Senior Manager of the Office of Neighborhood Engagement for the Division of Housing and Community Development. And I do bring you greetings from our director, Miss Ashley Cash, and our new mayor, Mr. Paul A. Young.
Yay.
Who,
That's a thrill.
yay! Who was actually previously our director. So we are just so fortunate to have him and his support. Okay.
The street, you're going to turn one of them down. Turn one of the volumes down.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So again, let me say we do bring you greetings from our director Ashley Cash and Mayor Paul A. Young. And you guys can clap one more time for that one.
Yay.
I would be remiss if I didn't introduce whom I say is the best team in the whole wide world. And we're called the Office of Neighborhood Engagement. We affectionately call ourselves the one. That is Miss Lakeisha Smith.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Miss Stephanie Hope.
Good evening.
And Mr. Sherman Robinson.
Good evening. Good evening.
Coordinator. And I know most of you know there's this young lady who typically makes all the phone calls for us, but she will contact you about different things. And that's Miss Tammy Davis. She's not here today. But sit back and relax, and I'm going to ask Stephanie and Lakeisha to make their introductions of our speakers.
Good evening again. I have the pleasure of introducing you to our first speaker, Miss Joanne Street. Miss Street is an ambassador of the Adopt a Park program, as well as the Tillman and Crump Station Police Department. She is a member of the City Park Alliance, secretary for the Democratic Women of Shelby County, and the executive director, founder of Hug Park Friends, whose mission is to clean, beautify, and activate 19 parks in the North Memphis community. They partner with other neighborhoods to promote environmental and park equity and the health and wellness for children and their families. Hug Park Friends has brought many resources to Memphis neighborhood parks, including summer nutrition programs, Tennis Memphis, and arts and cultural activities with Memphis Park Services. Again, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Joanne Street.
Thank you so much for that fine introduction. Thank you. Listen, Memphis is the home of over 167 parks. Why is that important that we advocate for parks in our neighborhood? Because when we do, we let people know that outdoors does matter. And this being Black History Month, we can explore Black history through our parks. We have the Otis Redding Park. We have the Charles Davis Park. We have the Confederate Park, which is now Memphis Medical Center Park. This is why people want us to be remembered. The Trust for Public Lands tells that there are over 20 parks that they support that honor Black history. So we ask people to support Black life in America, civil rights trails, because this does advocate for tourism, which tourism means dollars. So if we were to preserve our history, our public spaces that tell stories of our life in our communities, then our communities will be cleaner because we do cleanups, the city cares for their public land. We can promote activities in our neighborhoods to make them safe and healthy, such as swimming pools, parks and recreation for our children, libraries, and the like. This is where we meet one another and become active, and we become a better community. A healthier community is a healthier city. And as you know, Memphis is a home to a lot of poverty. And as a result, we've come under the scrutiny of a lot of the United States because of the crime problem. But what we noticed in the parks in our neighborhood, when we would clean up our parks and activate them with programs like the summer food program or the Gooch Park Easter egg hunts, the celebration of life of our elders, that the crime went down. We didn't realize this was going to be the result. But when you give people something to do, something to eat, and advocate, you love on your people, then they'll love you back. So that's one of the major things that we want to let people know, that one time parks were segregated up until 1964. So there is a fight for access to playgrounds, and it is a racial justice issue. It was part of the civil rights movement because up until 1964, parks were segregated. We could not go to the zoo. There was a limited where people could go to movies. When people can express themselves through arts and culture in their neighborhoods, it gets very, very dim and people lose hope. And we don't want that. We want children to be healthy, laughter. And there's so many other reasons why we need children to be active, is so that they can run, play, learn how to be, I'd say, engaging. For instance, when you start a baseball team, you need someone on first, someone on second, someone on third, someone on home. These are your team members. And as I would tell the children, you might need this guy. He's on your team. One day when you grow up, maybe he'll be a fireman. Maybe you'll need this person. Maybe he'll become a police officer or a teacher. These are our future, and we need to treat them as such. Another thing is, if you've ever gone by a park in the city and you've seen the park so desolate, so terrible, children won't even play there, birds won't go there. That's a place.
I've done flyers and you know, but I can also make copies.
Please mute yourself.
Okay, everybody, it looks like we
What was that?
are all technology.
I'm sorry. Okay,
No.
I was going to say the kids won't play there, and there you'll find that crime is high in those areas. But when you do clean the parks and you put festivals there, like the Juneteenth festival, which has gone on for years and years and years, during the time that the festivals, there is happiness, there's laughter, there's joy, and without that, children just perish. You should see how their eyes light up when they've ridden a bike for the first time, or they've hit a baseball and they hear the crack of the bat. They're hooked and they want more. So what we have to do is give more of this and let this be a model for the rest of the city. So that is one thing that we want to do, and the city will support it. Now we do have our connector there. It's the Memphis Parks, which is formerly the Memphis Park Commission. And their job is to make sure that we have this type of activity so that our youth will have something to do, something to be proud of. In our park at Gooch Park, we had a series called Love Your Park. We started out with a park cleanup. As you can see, here are my friends in the park. And the first thing you do, if you want to advocate for your park, is contact the Memphis City Beautiful office at 636-4410. Anyone there will be glad to help you. And you get the free t-shirt to adopt your park. You become a coordinator. It doesn't take any money to do this. If it did, I would not be in the place where I am now. Our organization has enjoyed countless programs, such as the bicycle program. And what we're doing, we're planning to go from park to park. So we have a art map, and our parks are on there. And the MATA bus, Memphis Area Transit Authority is supporting us in that. So in our parks, we're going to have activities, and we'll be able to tell people where they are, what buses they can go to enjoy those activities, which will be free to the public. That's going to bring in tourism. That's going to bring in a lot, I say, of joy. Now, in our parks, we can have things like festivals. One of the festivals that we plan in May will be called Art for All. That's going to be May 11th, and stay tuned for the place. Last year, we had it at Memphis Botanic Gardens, and over 40 nonprofit groups that promote arts and culture in our cities were there. And I am a storyteller, so I had my booth there, and conferences can go there. I'd say alumni reunions, celebrations in the park, swimming, baseball, football, just different things to get the kids running, and they just love it. Also, Memphis does something called Taste of Memphis. This was so wonderful. This was organizations from all over the city come together in a community area so that we can say what's good about our neighborhoods in our city. Now, the group that also is the parent company for all parks and recreations called the National Recreation and Parks. Please see them on Facebook, and you will get some ideas as to what to do. Let's see. And then too, just like me, you can have a shirt to brand your neighborhood. Now, what's good about branding? That means that everybody is going to be associated with your parks. And then there will be some kind of, I say, connectivity, and universal souls come together. Now, one of the things I did was a series called Caring for Parks. And this was where I gave different talks to different nonprofits in connection with Memphis City Beautiful, Urban Arts Commission, and the Memphis Parks. And one thing that you can do also to support your parks is you can write proposals to the city council and contact your state representatives to say, we want this in our neighborhood. And you'll see how the neighborhood does change. Our neighborhood in the Hollywood Hyde Park area was known for a lot of negative things, and people would tell me no one's coming there. Now it's the place to be. You can create brochures to talk about your neighborhood, newsletters. As we had an art dedication in 2022, we're having another art dedication in 2023. You can have after school programs. You're like a welcome friend of the neighborhood. And it tells you that everyone to love your park, and you teach people how to treat it. And you'll see how your park will stay cleaner because people think something good is going to happen. Next slide. Let's see. Memphis City Beautiful has been a staple in my life. They are my welcome friend. We have programs for to help keep your area clean, like the 901 programs to be clean, Keep America Beautiful, Great American Cleanup. And they also provide free supplies, free tools, free garbage bags, and sometimes free volunteers who want to join with you. You're not alone in this endeavor. Next slide. Oh, I've already told someone, I go, okay, here. One thing that we learn is where we can go for help and who's our partner. And also, there's social media that you can create and record all of the history that's been done in your park. As if you can see, Channel 24, Channel 13, Channel 5, and 3 have all been covering all the improvements from the community centers, from Geisman to Lester to Douglas to Ed Rice Community Centers. And we at Goach Park are in the Accelerate Memphis program. As I said, we have 3 parks in Hollywood. We have our new splash pad, which is a real big hit. And in University Park, we have our tennis courts, which are now a National Junior Tennis League site through the United States Tennis Association of Tennessee. Now, a lot of people said no one's going to be over there playing tennis, but they were wrong. And so, as far as the history, I've already told you some of the historical facts. And how do we measure success of our parks? Because we call 311 to report things that are out of kilter, like grass too high. And also, we as park adopters agree to call 911 if we see negative events. So that has been so much improved, and we are so glad for that. We didn't know these efforts would go, unnoticed, but someone is watching all times. Next slide, please. That's you get a sign as an Adopt a Park group. And we are the Hug Neighborhood Park Friends. They forgot the Park Friends part, but they have the Hug Neighborhood. And someone says, it is like that. It's a hug neighborhood. And who doesn't like a great hug? Next slide. This is me. I'm Joanne Street. Next slide. This is our mayor and his lovely wife, Jamila Young. And they were supportive of us at the Botanic Gardens when we had our first Art for All festival. We love a mayor who loves parks. Next slide. This is Gooch Park. Isn't it beautiful? Didn't always look like that. I hate to say all the negative things that happened, but I just know that it's now a positive staple in the neighborhood. Next slide. This is our senator, Sarah Kyle. She loves to hug the babies. And this is behind University Park. Next slide. This is University Park. Isn't it gorgeous? Didn't always look like that. It stays clean like this. Even though we have plenty of traffic, everyone loves a clean park. Next. We have art in our park, and it's urban art. As you can see on the slide, there's a little boy in the middle, and he's doing a dive. The name of this artwork is called Slice. And you can look at all of the artwork to go into uacmem.org/projects/slice, SLICE, which means to slice the water. It's a way to dive. And it's like the dance juking, but it's slicing the water. You got to see it. Next. This is tennis. This is University Park again. And people are astonished that this is in a predominantly Black and brown neighborhood. But as you can see, we're all together. Mike Sink is the instructor in the orange shirt, and he is a welcome friend as well, and a part of the Good Shepherd Chapel. Next. And I do bicycle safety. And as you can see, the children are choosing a bike and learning how to ride and doing their turns so that they can ride safely. And we are trying to promote our bike program in conjunction with a group called the Major Taylor Bicycle Club. Major Taylor was an African-American bicyclist in the 1900s. His fastest time was at 82 miles an hour on a single speed bike. And we honor him with a picture on the wall of our park pool. Thank you. Next slide. You'll see in this picture, I was one of the panelists with Chris Collier. Chris is the park adopter of Geisman Park, and they just completed their latest renovation of their community center. And it is a sight to see. And I hope each of you will get a chance to go by and see Geisman Park. Next slide. Artist Jamon Bullock. This is a great gentleman. I told Linda, I said, Linda, this is our Nehemiah who built the wall for God. This artist has painted every single place on the wall, and it's finished. And we will have a dedication in May. And stay tuned later for a date. Next. This is at our meeting with our volunteers to let people know that we had Love Your Park events where we go and we tell people, just like we're doing today, please, to love on your parks and it'll love you back. Next. University Park again. It's me, my tennis lessons. Next. As you can see, all these people are at Gooch Park. And this is our representatives, City Council. This is State Representative Antonio Parkinson and Michael and Easter Thomas and friends from the School Seed Foundation. On this day, School Seed Foundation received a $500,000 grant for activities at Gooch Park. It was the largest investment we've ever seen come to our area. So we must be doing something right. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, in this picture, because of the parks being adopted, I was honored as a Luminary Award recipient from Mayor Strickland in 2023. Next. Okay, in this you'll see different things. Okay, at the top, we're at Hollywood Park and we're doing a cleanup called Trashercise, where we had exercise enthusiasts to lead us in exercise before we went into the park to clear litter. It was so much fun, the kids asked to do it 2 days in a row. And at the bottom, we had the block party, which we normally do after we have our cleanups with our Colonel Houston, Joe, and who was working for the Grizzlies, and with Jamal Body, who's now working with Bloom 901. It's a nonprofit that supports park friends groups. So that's another support that you have. Next. This is Hollywood Park. As you can see, the splash pad is on the left, and on the right is the Easter egg hunt, which will come up again in April. And so you're all welcome to come. All of these events are free to the public. Next. Okay, this is last. It would be hard to choose which picture to represent all the things we've done. In the top, you'll see me at the Art for All Festival talking to people who are interested in our stories. As I told them, Mr. Gooch of CM Gooch Park, Maxine Smith and the NAACP advocated very vehemently so children would have parks and recreation access. And as you can see, even our Mayor Strickland would come to our parks. So when a lot of people say our politicians don't come out, give them a reason to talk about, and they'll be right there. And as you can see in the corner, we have Heather and Shania. They're now hug best friends. So this is something we just started. This is something that we would love for people to do and have a reason to activate your parks. Now, you're not alone. If you would contact the Memphis Park Commission and you contact Memphis City Beautiful, we have ambassadors, and I'm one of them. So if you want to know how to start a park friends group, please don't hesitate to give them a call, and I'll be glad to come out and meet with you and your new friends. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, good evening. I have the pleasure of introducing our second speaker for the hour, Ms. Linda Lee Williams. Ms. Williams was born in Memphis, Tennessee in 1956. Her family moved to Memphis from Drew, Mississippi, following the death of Emmett Till. She has been active in the civil rights movement since the age of 12. She is a retired educator from Shelby County Schools, where she started 3 outdoor classrooms that promotes literacy, science, and technology. Ms. Williams volunteers with several organizations and is eager to serve, which are Memphis City Beautiful, Mid-South Food Bank, Memphis Parks, Memphis HCD, at Roselle Annisdale Area Association. She has served 2 terms as president of the Metropolitan Memphis Club of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club, Inc. This is a national service organization geared to empower and uplift women in Africa and the United States. I present to you our speaker, Ms. Linda Lee Williams. Thank you.
Thank you. This first slide is a very important slide to me, and I want you to hone in on slide number 1. It says Roselle Annisdale Park. And this park is a community park. This means that the community created the park. Can you hear me? Okay. There was 2 houses that were demolished in 1980. And with the help of the city council at that time, we converted that vacant land into a community park. And it had a gazebo, 1 tire swing, and a huge sandbox where dogs did their business. But the best thing about this park, it had plenty of shade trees, and we still do. We are very, very proud of Roselle Annisdale Park. In the olden days, that's before the city took over the park, we had to cut it, edge it, haul the trash to the curb, water the grass, water the plants, clean out the gazebo, sweep. We took care of our community park. But because it was ours, it was a joy. And we have Stowe Bailey to thank for keeping this treasure, because at one time in the city, when Dr. Harrington was mayor, he was going to close all the parks that he didn't think were successful. And he came by to check out closing our little small park with the city council on a big old bus. And when he got there, Stowe Bailey and we were there to greet him. And as soon as he saw us, he said, "Oh no, there's no way that Mr. Bailey is going to allow me to close this park." So there was a big story in the newspaper, and we were contacted by a lot of people that supported our efforts. But we were on the list for park renovations for 20 years. Can everybody say 20 years?
20
Before
years.
our park was renovated. And we have to thank for that former city councilwoman, Jamita Swearingen. We took a bus tour and we showed her the state of our old park. And she said, "Oh no, Miss Williams, we're going to handle this. I will get on this next week." And lo and behold, we were moved up and we got this gorgeous new sign and a nice renovated park. So our city council people are important people, and we need to make them aware of what we need in our communities. Next slide. Fall in love with a park, any park, green spaces. That is the key to successful living. We need to embrace nature. And I'm part Cherokee, part African American, part a lot of stuff, Scottish, Irish, and other stuff. But I love the land. And we foster that in other people by showing how wonderful it is to grow things and to just sit in the shade and enjoy nature. So the Adopt a Park program, as Joanne has stated several times, is implemented by Memphis City Beautiful. And they are wonderful friends and dedicated helpers in a support group to anything that you want to do in your park and green spaces. Next slide, please. Look at my babies. This is the improved place. This is where the sand pit was. And now look at it. The baby can ride his bike and play with his buddies. And the parents feel it's a safe place for their children to come. So it's a great place. How many hours did I spend in my park when I was coming up? And we spent all day there, to be honest. And they had the school, they had the lunch program where they gave us a sandwich and some milk. And we played hockey, you know that hockey box? We played kickball, we played softball, all those things. And we swang for hours and never got hurt in the park. We just had a great time. Next slide, please. This is our national night out in last year, 2023. And guess what? It's Roselle Lansdale, and we have it in the park every year. People look forward to this event. You're talking about a way to make people have ownership of the park. Let them know they're going to get a great free meal every year, as much as they can eat. And they will come every year. Even our city councilwoman was there, and that is Janice Warrington Washington. And she is an advocate for all things that we do in District 4. She's wonderful. She's there at every event. Next slide, please. This is also National Night Out. And I want you to see, you see that sign that says, Lisa's Kids Love. When you have events, you can invite other nonprofits to participate and be a part of that, to showcase what the things that they're doing in their nonprofit, and to also be on hand. They're serving snow cones, I think. They're serving something. They always serve and show up. And we reciprocate. We work together to make everything better in our city and in our community. Not only do we have Lisa's kids, we have Bobby's kids who have joined with us in our programs and the things that we do in the park. And Bobby's kids, this is a nonprofit to honor Bobby Sanders, who used to live on Euclid, and she's deceased. Her children and relatives banded together to create this nonprofit. And every year they host a huge back to school drive in the park. In the park. And not only do they give out backpacks and free school supplies, but they give out toiletries and cleaning supplies for the home. And they give out socks, and they had face paintings, DJs, 2 jumper things. We had Italian ice, and we have had a barbecue truck. So we fed the people, we gave them music, let them dance and party. And it was a wonderful celebration of Bobby Sanders, who loved her community, and a way for the family to pay back and to honor her memory. Next slide. This is our faithful members of the Roselle Lansdale community, and it is on Memorial Day. Luncheon, Memorial Day service. We're remembering the people that we have worked with who are no longer with us. And it is a powerful, powerful ceremony that we have every Memorial Day. It is cleansing, it is uplifting. We release balloons, and they go to the heavens, and we call out the names of our loved ones. And we just spend that morning remembering all of the people who love parks, who love Roselle Lansdale, and love Memphis. That's my sister, she's singing. And we do poetry, all of the things that makes a community strong, we celebrate. And of course, we feed people with their favorite meal, a free luncheon. And this luncheon consists of baked chicken, barbecue chicken, hamburgers, spaghetti, green beans, and cake with assorted drinks. So it's a big event we have every year, but it's a small event. and we just enjoy each other and remember our loved ones. And this year, it's been a year since I lost my older sister, Charlie Hines, who was so important to the Roselle Ensdale community. So instead of crying and stuff, we rejoiced and we sat under the shade tree and enjoyed each other. Our city councilwoman sang a song and she celebrated and comforted people and just we just loved on each other. And it's important because some of the people that you see sitting there, they're in their 80s, in their 90s, and we don't know if they'll be there for next year. So every moment is just precious, and we just took the time to celebrate. Next slide, please. This is some of the improvements. I want you to see the swing set. No longer do we have the giant tire, which the kids really love, but they love this swing set even more. And it's safer. It is fun to swing, and they have the little soft things for you to jump out. After you swing, you got to jump out. And it is just a huge improvement to the park. Next slide. And again, we see there's two playground areas. It's just very, very nice. Next slide. We also have new grills. And this is very important for the park because cookouts are important. And this park, people can use for Sunday cookouts. They do. They have Saturday cookouts, have their little family reunion there. And all I tell them is clean up what you mess up, all your trash away. And I check on the next day, and the park is just like I left it the day before. So they're doing a great job. They appreciate the new grills, and the grills are right by the gazebo where the tables are. So they're very convenient. They're very nice. And we use them quite a bit. Next slide. Again, when the mayor was there when we unveiled the improvements to the park, and he was just overjoyed and very proud. And he talked to the children. And one of our children from down the street said, "This is just like walking on air." And it was so soft, and compared to what was there before, sand, concrete, the kids were just in love with it, and they really appreciated it. If you had saw the mayor's face when that child said that to him, and the hugs he received from being a part of fixing up our small park, you would know the importance playing is to children. Next slide. This is my last slide. This is another event sponsored by Bobby's Kids. And if we do this again, we're going to have her come and show and talk about how important it is to give back, whatever you can give back to your community. This is the day before Thanksgiving, Wednesday before Thanksgiving. She had a food truck come and serve the people of the community free in the park. This is in Roselle Ensdale Park. And they gave out socks. And I thought, socks? She said, "Miss Williams, it's cold. It's getting cold. People are going to need socks." They gave out bags of socks to everyone that came. And we ate from the food truck. How wonderful it is to be in a community where people just think about giving back. What else can I do? So she sent me an email. "Miss Williams, I've already got the park for next year to give out the school supplies. I've already secured the park and everything. We're going to do it again, even better." And this is what I believe. If you show love, teach love, not hate, teach love and compare and caring for green spaces, comparing, just taking care of the trees, you will see how important it is to growing a safe, community where people from Central Gardens come. They think that's their park too. They come and they sit under the trees. They come and they sit under the gazebo. The people that work from the city stop and have their lunch at the gazebo. And while our park is always busy, it is always a safe haven for all kinds of people. This year, we started something so fantastic that we're starting it again in April. We're going to do it continue. And that's Tai Chi classes, free Tai Chi classes, every Friday morning at 10:30 with a well-known instructor. Malin is fantastic, and he teaches us Chinese, the language, the customs, as well as Tai Chi. And this is a great way to relax, to stretch, to limber up. But guess what? My 81-year-olds come out for Tai Chi class. Some of them have had strokes, and he modifies everything. He tells us about the different stands and what everything means. So it is a wonderful, wonderful celebration of all things wonderful. And we get together. We stopped in November because it was getting cold, and I told you my people are elderly. So we're going to start back in the spring when it's warmer, in April. And it is just a wonderful fellowship and a great way for me to keep moving. It's not stressful on my joints, and it is just a fantastic free. Did you hear me say free? Bloom sponsored it. And all we have to do is pay him a stipend for his wonderful dedication to teach us these moves. And I just want to celebrate not just Roselle Park, but all parks. This summer at Peabody Park, the Midtown Park friends put on a poetry slam. And you're talking about a magical evening. They opened up the floor for poetry for all ages, children, adults, people that never, ever recited their own poems, did so that night. And again, we had a food truck and we had Italian ice. But here's what was so amazing. People came from Chicago, St. Louis. They heard about it and they came to do their poems. We had music, we had candlelight. It was magical. And one lady had went through a lot of trauma, and she had a whole folder of poems. This is how she released her trauma. So that night in the park, before people laying on blankets, sitting on lawn chairs, sitting at the picnic tables, she got a chance to unload years of suffering, of stress, of suffering things in silence. And it was cathartic, not only for her, as we all cried tears, but for everyone else. Because afterwards we went to her and hugged her, loved on her, and let her know that you're not the only person that went through stuff like this. But it was a cleansing, wholesome experience in the park. So that was the first poetry slam in the park, but we're going to have many. It's going to spread from Peabody Park to the other parks. And I just want to advocate to everybody to get with people who are interested in green spaces and want to enhance the green spaces. And even in your community, if you don't have room for a big park, you just have 2 lots, take those green spaces and turn them into a haven. Just put some chairs, plant some beautiful flowers, and enjoy your community. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you, ladies, for a wonderful presentation. And that was really phenomenal. I wanted to ask, if we want to start a small urban farm on a small piece of lot in the city, what all do we need to do?
That's a good question. First, I would contact City Beautiful and explain to them what you want to do. And they would give you the other avenues, what you need to do. Because the county, Shelby County, does give vacant lots and for use like urban farms and things like that. So contact City Beautiful first, and that would be the first thing that I would do. And they would tell you the other people you need to contact.
Okay.
That was a good question.
Thank you. And Ms. Joyce, you and your office, how can you help?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I tell you what, we could help you do some research. Our office, we do more housing and community development, but we do partner with our sister agencies like City Beautiful, like Clean Memphis, and as well as, you know, our mayor's sister works for the county. But I think that I mean, we would just help in any way that we could. I mean, we'd have to research who does what and all of that. And if you own the property, that's a different story. We can also partner you with, because there are a lot of agencies or nonprofits now that are doing urban farming. Like Tithe, I think I pronounced it right, Tithe. That's
Can you
one
repeat that?
Memphis Tilt. Memphis
Tilt.
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 That's
Oh,
it.
okay, okay. Tilt, okay.
You got it.
So there are some nonprofits that are doing farming. There's some individuals. I know that Bertrand Williams is now doing some work with some farming. So I mean, we would help in any way that we could. I don't have a direct path to doing it, but we can learn together.
Thank you, Ms. Suzanne Sean. I have contacted Black Seed Garden several times, and they are very non-responsive. I don't know why, but I have contacted them like 7-8 times, and I don't know. There is no response.
Who is
I'm
Black?
sorry to hear
Seed?
that. I found the same thing with Black Seed as well. I talked to them one time and I've not been able to get them since.
So who is Black Seed? Do you know the name?
Oh, I don't
No.
remember. I don't remember.
No, I
I
don't know.
It was a couple though. It's an African American couple that I think they stayed here to take care of her grandmother. And they got some land in Uptown. It was like 2 lots that they got from I believe this is how it went, from the city in Uptown. It was on a news segment is how I learned of them. And anyway, they pretty much did a lot of emotional healing through learning, gardening techniques. I think the young man was a fireman. I don't remember what the young lady did, but they have a child now, and they, had this incredible garden going, and it was an urban garden. And I contacted them, and they gave me a lot of good information that time. And it's been over a year now. I've not been able to reach them, just like he's saying.
I think they're in the North Memphis area near 7th Street. I think that's where they are.
She said they were in Uptown, wherever Uptown is.
That's it.
Yeah,
there's
Bobby
also-
Rich. His
Bobby-
name
I'm
is
sorry.
Bobby Rich.
I'm sorry.
Bobby Rich.
Right, I
That's
was
his name.
on television last week. He's talking about garden.
I think
I
the library also is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the library, botanical gardens, good for plants and seeds. Lichterman Nature Center used to be.
Yeah.
But
and I know you
the
can
library
check-
has
like you say,
information
it's a
on those.
place you can check.
I also want to say that a person that helped me more than they know is an organization called Community Lift. Community Lift was able to give resources and funding to help us with our project. And also they know of other people who probably going through the same thing. And that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just thank them so much. Nefertiti Oren, Donna Oates White, and all the people there, just so helpful. I don't know, never would have made it without them.
Oh.
We started as a crime prevention group through Neighborhood Watch. That's how we started.
Oh yeah, Clean Memphis now. Nefertiti is with Clean Memphis now.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Mhm.
And speaking of, we'll do a little plug. Next month we'll be our how-to is how to trash talk 101. And so Clean Memphis will be actually they will be the speakers. So stay tuned, you'll get more information soon.
This is a good day. It's a lot of information here.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Speaking of libraries, kind of along the same lines of asking about starting new parks. I've been trying to reach out to see if there are any plans surrounding the new Raleigh Library and potentially putting in some new park assets in that area, like playgrounds. There's already a wonderful walking trail, but it's it's a wonderful asset to the city. It's got the police station right there, so it's very safe. Is there somebody I should ask? I'd reached out to the councilwoman, but is there somebody from HCD that I might be able to reach out to, or any community meetings that are coming up about a park for Raleigh?
I'm sorry, which library is it?
That's
Raleigh.
the Raleigh Library, where the old Raleigh Springs Mall used to be.
Oh. The library itself, there might be someone there.
Okay.
I know at Officer Red, that library, there's one young man that's that has a garden program for the people in the neighborhood. And so you might connect with the main library to see who else could be involved with the project.
Okay, that's a great recommendation. Thank you.
And call 211 library information. That's a good thing, Suzanne.
Yeah.
They'll have information for you.
Excellent. Thank you. What was that last one?
Ask for Kim Fluker.
Okay,
She knows
perfect. Thank you
everything.
so much.
And she's working with Raleigh and Fraser Library, so yes.
Excellent. And I just wanted to thank the speakers. It was wonderful to hear about the history and so much work that's been going into our parks.
It's a labor of love because these are our parks. And here's the best part, the gratification is instant. When you see the children swinging, laughing, enjoying the park, when they go to Peabody and in the summer and they're on the splash park, it's just wonderful, just wonderful.
All right, Miss Williams and Miss Street, thank you for that wonderful, wonderful presentation. Do we have any other questions before we close it out? If
I had a
not,
question. I had a question.
Go ahead, Miss Sandra.
What do you do about noise in the neighborhood? We've got a park that I guess they must have reopened because they're having baseball games. We cannot get signs that say, put in the park. One say no parking on the grass, no littering, no loitering, and then we've got noise that disrupts the neighborhood itself. And
Sounds like you're an advocate already. And you can call Memphis City Beautiful.
According
and then
to
the park
Airways
rangers.
Precinct, according to Airways Precinct, they say that the police do not. I don't know why, but they said the police don't patrol the park.
They're only supposed to deal with criminal matters. There's something called park police or park rangers, and they're through Memphis Parks, and their number is 636-4200, and that's for park ranger.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at what point do we, at 636, what now?
4200.
4,200. When do we
Right.
call? Is it when the noise starts or when the
Well,
park
I would just call them now and just let them know what your concerns are. I do a monthly report. When we had a little bit worse. We had tagging and we had gang problems. So we had to get
That's
organized
what,
crime in. So, but
yeah, that's what we
you
think
may
it
not have
started.
noise. We could have probably taken, but if you would call 636-4200, if you say you want someone to come out and speak to a group, we'll see what we can do to help. You're
Okay.
not alone in this.
We don't want them to speak to a group as in keep your music down.
No, we want to speak to we want park advocates in every neighborhood. And so we'll know who to contact. But if you want a solution that's, amicable, maybe we can come to a solution for you.
Do we get signs from them, from Memphis Parks as well?
Memphis Parks, that's one of the things you'll need. And there's a budget actually for every park. There's a maintenance budget and there are also improvement budgets.
Okay. And my next question is about the movies shown in the parks. How do we get our park, or if not our park, an area in our neighborhood even on the list of
That's Memphis Parks as well. They purchased in the last couple of years a big movie thing, but also Linda, you do movies in your park.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
They purchased their equipment, but Memphis Parks has
contact them and ask to get placed on the list. Let them know that you're interested in getting placed on the list of movies shown. Do it early because they make these plans early.
Okay.
And the slots fill up fast. So talk to them as soon as possible.
If we purchase our own, and say we want to take one cove in our neighborhood to show the movies, because there's not a lot of kids in our neighborhood, do we have to have some type of permit, or can we just, other than the neighbors, of course?
Well, let me make a suggestion. Do contact parks, because that way they can tell you everything that you need.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then you'll know definitely, what's what.
Okay.
And Adriana is the community coordinator.
Okay.
Adriana Moore. Spelled her name wrong.
Because we'd rather do the movies in our neighborhood, because our park is built on top of a sewer. And so the neighbors, know that we won't go into the park. But those who do, we don't want to hear the noise all through the whole neighborhood.
Well, if you have someone who's willing to do it at their house, you'll feel free to get my my screen and the projector and the speakers and stuff. So you have to come get them and set them up. The screen is inflatable. You have to do it outside, so somebody's backyard or front yard if it's big enough, and you just plug it up
in the middle of the cove. There's a cove where
just put it in front of somebody's yard. It's in front of their house. They can say what they want to do.
Okay.
So,
we're gonna get their permission.
And I have chairs, so all that is available. It's results of Community Lift, a grant we wrote, and anyone can borrow it. But,
okay.
Watch and make sure you bring it back just the way you got it. Okay.
We sure will. We'll definitely do that. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I'm scrolling through the chat to make sure we got all the questions answered and information provided. It looks like we do.
May I one thing, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. For all the people who do good work for the community, I take it upon myself to promote their work through my talk show. And as you mentioned, Ms. Joyce, our current mayor, I have interviewed him. I have shared the link. So please take a look at that. This is a show called One Universe. And I would like to have each one of you promote the good things that you do for our community. So please give me a call. My number I'm typing in here. My name you can see and my number is 849 deep. So click that link so you can save it to watch it later. And I would love for you to be promoted on the show for all the good that you do for our community. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This presentation and this meeting will
Mr.
be.
Robinson.
Hey,
Mr.
Miss E.
Can he put his phone number in the chat?
Yes, ma'am.
I
He
did.
did. It's in
Can
there,
you
Miss
put
E.
the numbers instead
the
of the
deep
letters? Don't
When,
help me.
when does the show come on? When does your show come on YouTube?
Okay, I'll put that in.
When
I
does the
tried
show
to
come
get,
on? Is it a
yeah, I
weekly
tried
show,
to
a
get
nightly, or
901
what?
Sandeep. I tried to get 901 Sandeep, but that was the closest I could come for 9 deep.
When does the show come on? Can anyone hear me?
I
Yeah.
can't, but
I think he's froze.
I'm asking Mr. Sandeep, when does your show air? Is it nightly or weekly or what?
Since August of 2011, it has been on FM 91.7 Tuesday mornings at 11:30. That is WUMR. But now the station has closed, so we now have a YouTube channel. So
oh,
instead of
okay.
being on air, I would like to have my viewers see your beautiful faces as well.
How often do you come on YouTube?
We'll talk, Sandy.
Yeah. Please, please reach out to me and we
We
can
have
talk
a lot to
offline.
talk about.
Yes, definitely.
Well, before Sherman closes us out, I do want to remind everybody that this is the 10th year for the Taste of Memphis.
Hey.
And I think this year is, let me see if the committee members can help me remember. Celebrating one Memphis.
One Memphis with unlimited possibilities.
And its possibilities. So that's in September. We don't have our date as of yet, but we do have our logo, ladies, and you're gonna love it. It's already done. So Sherman.
All right. Great job, everyone. Great job. Again, Ms. Williams.
Yes. Love those glasses, Sherman.
Thank you. Ms. Street, wonderful job, ladies. Wonderful job. This recording will be posted on our website. So, if anybody that didn't get a chance to meet tonight or come on tonight, it will be posted. So, as I think all eyes and all ears have heard, I will say thanks, everyone, and see you next month.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.